Your soulmate is crying out, please open this before it's too late. My beloved child. Your soulmate is crying out, and the most heartbreaking part is that you almost missed the moment their heart reached for yours. Somewhere between silent nights, unfinished conversations, and dreams you barely remembered, a message has been trying to find you. It never arrived as a letter. It never appeared as a voice. Instead, it hid inside the strange feeling that something important was waiting just beyond your understanding. Have you noticed how certain memories refuse to disappear no matter how hard you try? That is not an accident. Someone has been carrying your name inside their heart for far longer than you realize, and today that weight has become almost unbearable. They fear time is slipping away. They fear one more delay could change everything forever. But before you assume you already know who this person is, listen carefully. The truth is far more unexpected than anything you have imagined. Don't skip. One hidden detail changes everything, and once you see it, the past will never look the same again. For a long time, your soulmate believed silence was protecting both of you. They convinced themselves that staying quiet was the kindest choice, even as every passing day made that silence heavier. They watched opportunities disappear. They rehearsed words they never spoke. They smiled in front of others while secretly wondering if you were thinking about them too. Then something happened that neither of you could have predicted. A single moment shattered the illusion that there would always be another chance. Since then, every sunrise has felt different. Every hour has carried a quiet urgency. They are no longer asking whether destiny will bring you together. They are asking whether they waited too long. And that question has become impossible to ignore. Stay till the end, because one forgotten memory from your own life may hold the answer they have been searching for all this time. The clues have been surrounding you, but only now are they beginning to connect. There is one secret your soulmate has never confessed to anyone. Not to friends. Not to family. Not even to themselves until recently. They have imagined the exact moment they would finally tell you everything, yet every version of that future ends with the same terrifying possibility, you walking away before hearing the whole truth. That fear is why their heart keeps reaching for yours in ways words cannot explain. It appears in unexpected emotions, familiar places, and those quiet moments when you suddenly feel someone is thinking about you without knowing why. Something huge is waiting for you, but it is not what most people expect. The real message has never been about finding love. It has been about discovering the one decision that could either save this connection or let it disappear forever. And hidden inside that decision is a revelation your soulmate can no longer keep buried, because the next moment may decide whether your two paths finally become one, or remain separated by a single unanswered choice. There is something your soulmate still doesn't know. They have no idea how close you have come to recognizing the invisible thread that has been pulling the two of you together. While they have been questioning every instinct, wondering if they should finally let go, you have unknowingly been standing at the edge of the same crossroads. That is why the silence feels so unusually heavy now. It is no longer ordinary distance. It is the space between two hearts waiting for one brave decision. Your soulmate has replayed countless what-if moments, searching for one sign that you still care, one small reason to keep believing. Then, without warning, they discovered something that made their heart race. It wasn't a message. It wasn't a phone call. It was a realization so powerful that they couldn't sleep after it happened. Suddenly, every memory of you began fitting together like pieces of a puzzle they never knew they were solving. The realization was painful because it revealed a truth they had tried to outrun for far too long. They understood that waiting for the perfect moment had become the very thing pushing that moment farther away. Every excuse they had once believed now sounded empty. Every fear suddenly seemed smaller than the possibility of losing you forever. Yet just as they gathered the courage to move forward, another obstacle appeared, one they never expected. Someone or something entered their path, creating confusion and forcing them to question whether fate was giving them one final test or one final warning. They almost turned back. They almost convinced themselves that keeping quiet was safer than risking heartbreak. But deep inside, another voice refused to let them surrender. Don't look away now, because what happened next changed the direction of their heart forever. They made a promise that no one else knows about. They promised themselves they would never allow fear to write the ending of this story. Even if their voice trembled. Even if the outcome was uncertain. Even if rejection waited on the other side. But before taking that first step, they uncovered one last piece of the mystery, a hidden truth connected not only to their own heart, but to yours as well. It explained why certain moments in your life have felt strangely unfinished, why some connections never completely faded, and why this story refuses to disappear no matter how much time passes. That final clue has brought them closer than ever to reaching you, but the moment they are about to reveal everything, an unexpected discovery threatens to change the words they plan to say, leaving one question hanging in the air. What if the truth is even bigger than either of you is prepared to face? The answer arrived when your soulmate stopped searching outside themselves and finally listened to the quiet voice they had ignored for so long. It did not shout. It whispered. It reminded them of a promise they had made in the deepest part of their heart, a promise to never let fear become stronger than love again. In that moment, they understood something that had escaped them for years. Every delay had not been meaningless. Every detour had shaped them into the person who could finally stand before you without pretending to be someone else. But with that realization came another unsettling truth. Time had not stood still. While they were changing, so were you. And now they were haunted by one question they could no longer silence. Had they discovered the truth just one moment too late? That question became impossible to ignore because the signs around them grew stronger with every passing day. Familiar places suddenly carried unfamiliar emotions. Songs they had forgotten returned at the exact moments they were thinking about you. Faces in a crowd reminded them of memories they thought had faded forever. None of it felt random anymore. It felt as though life itself was quietly pushing them toward a choice they could no longer postpone. They even began writing words they never intended anyone to read, honest words filled with regret, hope, and a longing they had hidden from the world. They folded those thoughts away, believing they would remain a secret forever. Yet deep inside, they wished that somehow, against all logic, you would hear every unspoken sentence. Stay with this story, because the next discovery reveals why those unsent words may already be finding their way to you. Then came the moment that changed everything. Your soulmate uncovered a forgotten detail connected to your shared story, something so small that most people would have overlooked it completely. Yet once they saw it, nothing could be unseen. They realized there had been a chance for your paths to meet much sooner, a single fragile moment when everything almost aligned before slipping away without either of you realizing it. Instead of breaking them, that discovery awakened a determination they had never felt before. They are no longer waiting for perfect timing. They are preparing for the moment when silence finally ends. But just as they gather the courage to reveal the truth they have carried for so long, one final obstacle emerges from the past, and unless it is faced, the words your soulmate has been desperate to tell you may never reach your heart at all. Just when your soulmate believed nothing else could stand in the way, the past returned with unexpected force. Not through anger. Not through blame. Through unfinished emotions that had never truly been released. Old doubts resurfaced. Forgotten disappointments whispered that history would simply repeat itself. For one painful moment, they questioned whether opening their heart would only lead to another goodbye. But then they remembered something that refused to leave their mind. Every time they had chosen fear, they had lost a chance they could never reclaim. This time felt different. This time, the cost of staying silent seemed far greater than the risk of speaking honestly. The decision before them was no longer about avoiding heartbreak. It was about refusing to spend the rest of their life wondering what could have been. As that realization settled in, another mystery quietly unfolded. Your soulmate began noticing that the strongest memories they carried were not dramatic moments at all. They were the smallest ones. A glance that lasted a second too long. A conversation that ended before either of you wanted it to. A feeling that lingered long after the moment had passed. Those memories had survived because they carried something unfinished. They were not reminders of what had ended. They were reminders of what had never truly begun. That thought filled them with equal parts hope and fear. If those moments still held meaning, then perhaps the connection had never disappeared. But if they were wrong, one honest confession could change everything forever. Don't look away now, because the next choice they make cannot be undone. So they made a quiet promise to themselves. The next time life placed your paths within reach of one another, they would not hide behind hesitation or wait for another perfect sign. They would finally let the truth speak for itself, no matter where it led. Yet on the very night they settled their heart, one unexpected discovery stopped them in their tracks. It was a clue they had overlooked for far too long, a detail suggesting that someone else already knew pieces of your story before either of you had spoken them aloud. That revelation didn't erase their courage. It deepened the mystery. Because if another heart has been watching this connection from the shadows, then the message your soulmate has been desperate to deliver may be racing against a secret that is only now beginning to reveal itself. At first, your soulmate refused to believe it. How could someone else recognize the connection before the two people living it ever found the courage to admit it? The thought lingered long after the night had passed. They replayed every conversation, every coincidence, every unexpected encounter, searching for the missing piece they had overlooked. Slowly, an astonishing pattern began to emerge. Certain moments that once felt ordinary now carried a deeper meaning. Every delay had placed them exactly where they needed to be. Every unexpected turn had protected a future they could not yet understand. What once looked like missed opportunities suddenly appeared to be preparations for something much greater. But with every answer came an even more unsettling question. If everything had been leading to this moment, why did it suddenly feel as though the window to act was beginning to close? That fear became impossible to ignore. Your soulmate could feel it in the quiet moments when the world seemed unusually still, as though everything was holding its breath. They imagined what life would look like if they stayed silent one final time, and the picture was almost unbearable. It wasn't loneliness that frightened them the most. It was the possibility of seeing you walk toward a future believing they had never cared enough to speak. That single thought shattered every excuse they had ever made. They realized love is not measured by perfect timing or flawless words. It is measured by the courage to tell the truth before silence writes the ending for you. Stay with this story, because the next revelation explains why your soulmate believes the moment they have been waiting for is closer than ever before. Then, without warning, something happened that neither of you could have predicted. A small, almost invisible sign appeared, so subtle that most people would dismiss it without a second thought. Yet to your soulmate, it felt like the final piece of a puzzle they had been assembling for years. Their fear did not disappear, but it was replaced by something stronger: certainty. For the first time, they stopped asking whether they should reach out and started asking how. They knew there could still be misunderstandings. There could still be distance. There could still be obstacles neither of you expected. But none of those felt as powerful as the truth waiting inside their heart. And just as they prepared to take the first irreversible step toward you, they uncovered one last hidden secret, one capable of changing not only what they planned to say, but the very reason your two lives have continued circling back to one another all along. The hidden secret was not a name, a place, or a forgotten message. It was something far more powerful. Your soulmate finally realized that every time they thought they had lost you, life quietly placed another opportunity in front of them. The chances looked different each time, but they all carried the same purpose: to see whether fear would continue making the decisions that love was meant to make. Suddenly, the years no longer felt wasted. They felt like lessons leading to a single defining moment. That understanding filled them with both relief and urgency. Relief, because the connection had never truly disappeared. Urgency, because they knew opportunities do not wait forever. Some doors remain open only until someone finds the courage to walk through them. And for the first time, they believed that door was standing open right now. With that realization came a peace your soulmate had never experienced before. The endless questions that once kept them awake slowly faded into quiet determination. They stopped wondering whether they were good enough. They stopped imagining every possible rejection. Instead, they focused on one simple truth: honesty was the only path left. If their heart was meant to reach yours, it would do so through sincerity, not perfection. Yet as calm as they appeared on the outside, another mystery continued growing beneath the surface. There was one memory they still could not explain. One brief moment that seemed ordinary at the time but now refused to leave their mind. The more they thought, it was a quiet instant when everything around them seemed to pause, as though the world itself had been waiting for them to notice what mattered most. In that forgotten heartbeat, they had almost spoken the words they had carried inside for so long, but hesitation stole the moment before it could become real. They have replayed that scene countless times, wondering how differently life might have unfolded if they had simply trusted their heart. This time, they refuse to repeat that mistake. They are closer than ever to revealing everything they have hidden. But just as they prepare to let the truth finally escape, an unexpected message reaches them, and what it contains forces them to question whether someone else has been trying to protect this connection from the very beginning. The message arrived without warning, and for a long moment your soulmate simply stared at it, unable to breathe. It did not contain dramatic declarations or impossible promises. Instead, it held a quiet truth that reached deeper than anything they had expected. It reminded them that genuine connections are never built on perfect timing alone, they survive because two hearts refuse to stop searching for one another, even after countless detours. As they read those words again and again, something inside them shifted forever. The fear that had controlled every decision began to lose its grip. In its place came a determination unlike anything they had ever felt. They realized that waiting for certainty had stolen enough time already. The only thing left to discover was whether you were still willing to open the door they had once been too afraid to knock on. That realization gave your soulmate the courage to prepare for the conversation they had imagined 1,000 different ways. They practiced every sentence, then erased it. They wrote long letters, only to fold them away before anyone could read them. Nothing sounded right because every version felt too small for what they truly carried inside. They didn't want rehearsed words. They wanted honesty. They wanted you to see the person they had become through every mistake, every regret, and every lesson that had quietly reshaped their heart. Yet on the very day they decided they would finally stop hiding, another unexpected detail surfaced. Someone mentioned a memory connected to you, one your soulmate had completely forgotten. The instant they heard it, everything froze. That forgotten memory explained why your lives had crossed paths in ways neither of you had ever fully understood. Stay with this story, because the truth hidden inside that memory changes everything you thought this journey was about. When your soulmate finally pieced it all together, they understood that this story had never been driven by chance. Every delay had revealed patience. Every silence had uncovered hidden strength. Every missed opportunity had prepared them for a moment that demanded complete honesty instead of perfect conditions. Now they stand at the edge of the decision that once terrified them, knowing there is no turning back. Their heart is no longer asking whether it should speak. It is asking only one final question: will you recognize the truth when it finally reaches you? Because the next step is unlike anything that has come before. It is the moment when every unanswered feeling, every hidden clue, and every quiet promise begins to come together, and what your soulmate is about to reveal has the power to rewrite everything you believed this connection was meant to become. The moment finally arrived, yet it looked nothing like your soulmate had imagined. There were no grand gestures. No perfect setting. Just a quiet heartbeat and the overwhelming feeling that another second of silence would become a lifetime of regret. They realized they had spent years searching for the right words when the truth had always been simple. They missed you. They never truly let go. They never stopped wondering how different life could have been if courage had arrived a little sooner. But just before they were ready to reveal everything, one final realization stopped them. They understood this wasn't only about what they needed to say. It was about whether you were ready to hear it. Sometimes the greatest distance between two people isn't measured in miles. It's measured in timing, trust, and the willingness to believe that a second chance can still exist. As your soulmate stood on the edge of that decision, they began noticing something extraordinary. Every painful chapter they once wished to erase had quietly become